Hey, there we go. There we go. That's better. I just realized that my sound wasn't working. Sorry about that. We're back now. Are you ready? Free Advice Friday, 2 weeks in a row. This time around, now you can actually hear me. So, I was talking a little bit about LinkedIn. There's been a lot of major changes that have happened on LinkedIn. And those changes that have happened over the last few months have caused me to completely reevaluate the way that I'm using the platform. And I want to just say one thing right off the bat. I had gotten to a point last year where I was seeing some huge numbers on my LinkedIn profile. I was having posts that were getting reach in the 5-figure range, 10,000, 15,000 plus. Massive numbers on my reach, massive numbers on my profile views, and I was feeling really good about that. But here's the thing. Despite the fact that I was getting massive reach, what was actually going on was I was massively reaching the wrong audience. I was massively reaching mostly voice actors, honestly, at that point. And so reaching out to or having posts that were reaching, 10,000 voice actors, I'm not going to say that there's no value there. I love you guys. I love hanging out with you guys. But reaching out to 10,000 voice actors on a post wasn't getting me any voiceover work. For some reason, you guys aren't hiring me for voiceover work. I don't understand. So one of the things that I've been really thinking about a lot is my content strategy on LinkedIn and trying to more reevaluate a little bit more how I am using LinkedIn. And this year, where I've made an intentional decision to step back a little bit from coaching, not quitting coaching. Obviously, I'm here right now, but just stepping back a little bit and putting a little bit more focus on my voiceover business. I wanted to start using LinkedIn in a different way that would hopefully put a little bit more focus on my voiceover business. And so something interesting has happened. The amount of reach that I am now getting on LinkedIn has fallen off quite a bit, actually, but I'm starting to see more of the audience that I wanted to get in front of. I'm starting to see more of an audience of potential buyers. And so one of the questions that you have to ask yourself is, what would I rather have? Would I rather have a massive audience and massive reach on LinkedIn, or would I be happier with a smaller audience and a smaller reach, but a much more strategic audience and a much more strategic reach? And I decided that I was okay with the trade-off. Does it sound good to say, hey, my post got 10,000 views or 20,000 views? Sure, it does. It sounds way better to say that than, oh, my post got, 800 views or 1,200 views. But if that post with 800 or 1,200 views was primarily made up of people who may potentially hire me for voiceover work, then that's a different scenario. And so then I'm willing to accept the trade-off. One of the things that I'm going to be teaching in this updated version of my Making Money with LinkedIn Masterclass is how you need to be thinking differently about how you approach the platform, because the platform is reacting and acting very differently when it comes to distribution and recommendation. So distribution, who's going to get the content that you're sharing? Recommendation, who is going to be recommended, both recommended to you, hey, you should connect with this person, you might want to find out more about this person, and who you are recommended, right? So it works two ways. LinkedIn is looking for potential people that it thinks may be interested in being connected with you, and it's telling them you should check out Mark, but it's also saying, Mark, here are some people that I think you might be interested in. You should check out them. So it's all about distribution and recommendation. And to achieve those two goals, you really have to change the way that you are thinking about the platform and the way that you are using the platform. That's one of the reasons why I decided to teach this updated masterclass. That's one of the reasons why I have overhauled it and am currently in the process of overhauling it. So if you are interested in finding out a little bit more about LinkedIn, and if you are interested in learning how to use it properly for your voiceover business and learning how to use it as a really effective marketing tool, that's what this class is all about. So I'm going to be teaching it here in about 2 weeks, week and a half, I guess. July 28th, it's Tuesday. It's going to be happening Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you are unable to attend live, don't worry. Everybody that signs up is going to get access to a complete video recording. But if you go to vopreneur.com and if you click on the store button right here, go to vopreneur.com, click on the store button. This is what's going to pop up. You're going to see it right there on the top of the page, Making Money with LinkedIn Masterclass. And here's a breakdown of it. Actually, you know what? Let me copy this, paste it, put it in the chat. There we go. So if for any of you that are interested in checking that out and learning a little bit more about how I am using LinkedIn, what is changing on the platform, how you need to be thinking differently about LinkedIn, this is your opportunity to sign up, get that masterclass, grab your seat for it. So that's my thoughts on LinkedIn, on some of the changes that are taking place on LinkedIn. And we'll get more deeper into it in the class itself, but things really are changing. The whole back end structure of how LinkedIn works is changing, and that's going to mean that we've got to do things differently if we want to continue to use it as an effective marketing tool. So this is Free Advice Friday. I am here to answer your voiceover business and marketing questions. So if there is a question that you would like to ask and get answered, this is your opportunity to do it. Feel free to go ahead and type it in the comments. If you've got a question that you would like to ask and get answered, anything business and marketing related on the voiceover side, I'm happy to discuss. That's what I'm here for. 2 weeks in a row. Woo! 2 weeks in a row. You know what? Now I'm curious. I got to look at my calendar. What do I got going on next week? By golly, I might be able to do it next week too. I might be able to do 3 weeks in a row for Free Advice Friday. But in the meantime, while we wait for that, again, if you've got a question that you would like to ask and get answered, this is your opportunity to ask that question and get it answered. All right, let's see what Tony say. Yeah, LinkedIn will give you suggestions of people who have made comments on content that some of your connections have interacted with and others who are connected with them independent of you. And this is one of the big things that's going on right now. LinkedIn is now becoming a recommendation engine, but you need to understand how that recommendation engine works so that you can make sure that you are being recommended to the right people and that the right people are being recommended to you. But that's one of the big changes on LinkedIn, is that it has become a recommendation engine. How are you guys doing with the fires? Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize how massive Ontario as a province is. So I live in Southern Ontario, very, very close. Like literally, if I were to jump in the Lake Erie's about 10 minutes from my house. If I were to jump in the lake and swim straight across, I would be in Erie, Pennsylvania. So I'm very much in the southern part of Ontario. Where the fires are currently burning right now, they're about, I think, 18 hours north of where I live. But the smoke has been pretty bad. Although I will say, I don't think that even where I'm at in southern Ontario, as bad as the smoke has been for the last couple of days, I don't think we've got it as bad as what they've been getting it in Michigan either. So we're grateful that, I mean, if the worst thing that we have to deal with is some smoke, I've seen some of the video and some of the images coming from where those fires are at. It's terrifying. I was a firefighter for 17 years, and I said, those types of wildland fires, I never dealt with like full wildfire, like forest fire, but I definitely dealt with some wildland brush fire, things like that. Those were always the scariest fires because they were so unpredictable. The wind could change direction in a split second, and it just throws your whole entire plan to crap. And it was always terrifying. And they were always the hottest fires that I ever was involved in. And so, obviously we're very concerned about what is going on up there. My mother-in-law, my wife's family, they live about 8 hours south of where the fires are right now, and they've been really bad in the smoke. And so we keep checking in on them to see how they're doing. But we apologize. I know there's some Americans that are pretty upset about the fact that the smoke is coming your way, and I certainly don't think it was something that we did on purpose. We do apologize for the inconvenience of it, but certainly not fun for any of us. But as I told my kids were getting upset yesterday because we just want to go outside. We just want to play outside. And I showed them a video of people jumping into boats and escaping. One of the places, one of the towns that was lost, one of the communities that was lost, the only way that they could get out was by jumping in boats and literally escaping by boat with just the clothes on their back. And so I showed these videos to my kids, and I'm like, look, I understand that you're upset about not being able to go outside right now, but let's just take a moment to get a little perspective. Like, these people are literally jumping in a boat and fleeing across the lake with nothing but the clothes on their back. Like, if the worst that we have to deal with right now is some smoke, maybe we should be grateful, appreciative, and really think about the people who are actually affected by it. And so that kind of changed their perspective pretty quick. I wasn't trying to be a downer, just trying to be real with them. But yeah, pretty crazy what's going on there right now. All right, Josh, regarding commercial VO, is there a one-on-one commercial coach you'd recommend for a Canadian dad type voice looking to improve his skills before he makes a bigger push? KH Casting out of Toronto, Kim Herndon Casting. KH Casting out of Toronto is somebody, they do offer a number of different classes, and commercial is one of the areas where they specialize in, and they've got several different people who coach in commercial. So if you're specifically looking Canadian, KH Casting would definitely be one of the ones that I look at. And I'll tell you, one of the advantages to going to them is they're casting directors. They're a casting house. And so I'm not going to say coach with them and boom, now you're in with the casting house. But what I will say is, who is more familiar with what is going on right now in the commercial space, particularly the Canadian commercial space, than the casting house that is actually casting the commercials? And so definitely, I think that would be one that is worth taking a look at. Let me see if I can find the... Okay, it's khcasting.com is the website, I believe. Yep, that's it. There you go. There's the website. They offer one-on-one coaching. They offer workshops. There's a bunch of different options that are available. All right. What else? What can I talk to you guys about on Free Advice Friday? What questions do you have for me? What voiceover business and marketing questions can I answer for you? Back in the fall of 2020, we had level 3 evac notices within 10 miles of us. Went on for a month. Yeah, I can't imagine. I got some friends that live out in British Columbia, northern part of British Columbia, and they pretty much spend their entire summer with go bags packed in the back seat of their car. It's like every year. It just is. It's like a thing. It's almost like a way of life now, which is just I can't imagine having to go like that. Any experience with Bedalgo? Bedalgo is a fantastic site. I am a huge fan of Armin. I think that Armin, who owns Bedalgo, to be clear, Armin has worked so incredibly hard at finding the right balance between voice actor and voice buyer. I think that sometimes some of these sites, they take money from the voice actor, but they take all the input on the site and the functionality from the voice buyer. And what ends up happening is voice actors are paying a lot of money for a site that doesn't really work that great for them. And I think that Armin has done an incredible job of finding the balance of creating a site that is fair and equitable for voice actors while being easy to use and a solid platform for the voice buyer. And so I just think he's also somebody who listens to the feedback of the community, constantly listening to the feedback of the community. And one of my favorite things about Armin is when you give Armin a suggestion that he likes, because he's the guy, he'll go home and the next day that feature may actually be on the website. Whereas with some of these other casting sites, it's got to go through 14 committees, 327 different meetings, and 6 years later, they finally get around to putting in that feature that isn't even relevant anymore. I think that Armin has done a great job of being very fair on the rates side. I think that he pays attention to those types of details. The downside of Bedalgo is the quantity of jobs. The quality, fantastic. Great projects, great clients, fair budgets, very good for voice actors on that front. The quantity is going to be lower than what you are going to see on some of the other casting sites. It's going to be lower than a Voice123 or lower than a Voices.com. So that is the trade-off. And so that is something to think about. But all in all, I would say 100% great site, totally legitimate. European clients, mostly. It's based in Germany. You'll often find rates in euros, which may or may not work in your favor, depending on where you are located and your currency and the exchange rates and all of that. But absolutely a fantastic site, totally legitimate site. Last night I was able to virtually attend a class with Jim from Lotus Productions, and he focused on political for the class. Very insightful of you. Consider jumping into the political genre. I am probably never. I know you're never say never. They tell you that all the time. I said for 20 years I was never going to do audiobooks, and now I'm here. You know, I just did my first audiobook a few weeks ago. I turned in my first audiobook. The political space is one that makes me nervous. I got a lot to lose on the political side. You know, you piss off the wrong people and you get canceled overnight, one side or another, right? I don't know that I want to play that game. I don't know that I want to play that game. I have no problem with people playing the game. I think there's a crap ton of money to be made in the game. I wish that we could just be more civil about the game. I wish that it could just be about voiceover, and not about labeling people as left or right or extremist or far this or Nazi that or whatever. That stuff all just drives me crazy. I wish it could just be about voiceover and professional and being professional and providing professional services. It doesn't appear that we can be that way anymore. And so for that reason, I've avoided it just because I don't want to get in on the drama. I don't want to get caught up in the drama. But definitely it's a legitimate space. There's a lot of money to be made there. I think there's probably going to be more money spent on these midterms than there probably was in the last presidential election. And if you have the ability to do that, there's something there for you. The other side of it for me is I don't think that I could stomach some of the ads. Some of the attack ads in particular. I don't think I could do it. I don't think it's in me. That's the Canadian in me, I guess, maybe. How has investing in Claude CoWorker been going for you, specifically with the GEO SEO? I'm a huge fan of Claude CoWork. It's been doing incredible things for me as far as building pages. It's still a little early to determine specific results, but I can tell you a couple of things. One, it's built 60 plus pages for me on my website at this point, and not a single one of those pages would be there if I had to do it on my own. Literally 0 pages would be there if I had to do it on my own. So that in and of itself has been absolutely fantastic. How that ultimately plays out from an SEO GEO standpoint remains to be seen. I have seen an uptick in traffic on my website, which has been great. That hasn't converted to inquiries through my website yet. And so we're still trying to figure out, are we getting the right kind of traffic? And this goes back to what I was talking about at the very beginning. I don't need 10,000 people coming to my website every day. I'll take 20 potential buyers coming to my website every day, and that would be worth it. And so it's part of it is just trying to figure out that strategy right now. But all the work that is happening is work that would not have happened if it weren't for Claude and CoWork. So yeah, I've been very happy with that. Josh says opinion on Backstage for voiceover. I did sign up for Backstage earlier this year, more out of curiosity than anything. Somebody sent me a documentary audition. It was specifically asking for a Canadian talent, and I got a really good deal where I was able to sign up for the entire year for it was like $80 or something like that. It wasn't a lot of money. So I thought, whatever, give it a try. I don't spend a lot of time there. I honestly don't see a lot of stuff there. There doesn't appear to be any kind of feedback loop whatsoever. So at least with a Voice123 or a voices.com, if somebody's opened your audition, if they've listened to your audition, there's ways for them to shortlist your audition, all of that sort of stuff. There doesn't appear to be any kind of feedback loop at all on Backstage. So I have no idea if anything that I've ever submitted has been listened to, if they're real. I don't know. So, when my year is up, I probably will not renew that particular one. There doesn't appear to be a whole lot of value there at this point. Bedalgo, my only concern is the CRM they have doesn't work unless I don't know what I'm doing. I can't speak to that specifically because I've never used Bedalgo CRM. If anybody has any insights or thoughts for Mark there, you feel free to type them into the comments. I have been getting an almost 0% response rate to my outgoing email marketing and follow-ups. I know my deliverability is as good as it can possibly be. I will be reviewing what I've forgotten from, we're moving on to the next part, from Playbook, Marketing Trends 2026, Deliverability Workshops, and Inbox Playbook. Will I get a lot of help by buying the Follow-Up Academy, or is this something you will also be rebuilding in the future? Follow-Up Academy, actually, I just rebuilt Follow-Up Academy. I guess it was maybe at the end of the year last year when I did Follow-Up Academy. I forget. And the reason why I rebuilt it was because I was totally reevaluating and overhauling my own personal follow-up strategy. So I blew that course up and started it over again. So it is reflective of what I'm doing on follow-up right now. I'm not going to lie to you. Email marketing is hard right now. Email marketing is hard because there is so much spam. And I think you've probably noticed it in your own inbox. If you think about what's going on in your own inbox, um, the amount of the sheer volume of email that is landing in your inbox on a daily basis that is just garbage, just spam garbage. And most of it is AI bots. People are creating Gmail accounts with ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and they're just blitzing the crap out of people's inboxes. And it's made it hard. It's made it really hard for email right now. And so, I mean, I'm playing around with it myself right now. I've got an email sequence going on right now for new leads. I'm getting a bunch of bounce backs as far as vacation notices and stuff like that. I know summer's not always the greatest time to be doing some of this, but I'm, taking my shot anyway. But it is a challenge right now. I'm not going to lie to you. The numbers on email marketing are really tough right now. And I think that's a big part of the reason why is because of the sheer volume of spam that is landing in people's inboxes on a daily basis. And so I'm not going to say it's dead. I'm still using it. It's still working. I still get inquiries. I'm still finding success with it. Maybe not to the extent that I have in the past right now. I don't know if that pendulum swings back a little bit at some point. It remains to be seen. But that's also why I'm working on other strategies as well. I'm trying to reevaluate what I'm doing on LinkedIn. I've been working on my content strategy with my Docushorts and stuff like that. But it's absolutely a tough sell on email marketing right now. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons. But I'll tell you, the number one thing is still personalizing. You might only be able to send 2 or 3 emails or 5 emails in a day if you're really deeply personalizing those emails, but they're going to go so much further than if you are just sending out generic form-like letters, because that's what AI is doing. And so part of what we have to figure out how to do as email marketers now is figure out how to cut through the noise of the inbox and say, I am not an AI. I am actually a human. This is actually an email that was written by a human, and getting onto people's radars in that way. Thanks for coming to Free Advice Friday, guys. If you have a question that you would like to ask and get answered, feel free to type it into the comments. You just put a Q beside it, and it makes it a little bit easier for me to find when I'm scrolling through the chat there. I'm happy to answer as many questions as I can here for the next little while, so don't be shy. If there's something you want to talk about, something you've been thinking about, something you've been wondering, this is your opportunity to make that happen. If you are enjoying the live stream, if I answer one of your questions, if I share something that you find helpful, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button as well. Follow-up question, who hosts your website? My website is hosted through Upper Level, upperlevelhosting.com with Brad Newman. All right, let's see. Where are we? In the area that I live, a few VOAs have gotten together, support, talk, plan, support one another. We're talking about forming a group, keep talent in the area. Good idea. I think anytime that you can have some sort of collective support is absolutely to your advantage. What we do is very isolating. It's, we're in our offices by ourselves all day. We're in the booth over there by ourselves all day. We don't always get a lot of human contact. Every once in a while I get to go into Toronto and do an in-person studio or an in-person session in a studio. But by and large, outside of that, I'm by myself all day. And so anytime I think that you can get a collective group together for some social interaction, whether it's related to voiceover or just for your own sanity and peace of mind, but obviously connecting with other voice actors, we understand everybody understands what each other's going through. I think there's definitely value for that. And I think there are ways that you can use collectives to your advantage. I think look at some of the different, there's a collective around millennial voices. There's collectives around political voices. There's left and right collectives for political voices, groups of voice actors trying to pool together talent, resources, things of that nature. And so I definitely think there are areas outside of just being able to support each other. I think there's areas where it can benefit your voiceover business on the whole too. Where do I find your Docushorts? I went looking for them to share with someone, but I wasn't able to find it. They're on my YouTube channel. Well, right now they're everywhere. They're on my YouTube channel. I will get the link for you for that. Here's the link to the YouTube channel for the Docushorts. They're also on LinkedIn. I'm sharing them on Instagram. Interestingly enough, my Docushorts are performing significantly better lately on Instagram versus on YouTube. And so that's another thing that I have been paying attention to. As an example, most of my videos on YouTube tend to hit around 1,000 views and then they die. Almost all of my shorts, they tend to hit around 1,000 views and then they die. That's when YouTube stops pushing them. On Instagram, one of mine recently went over 100,000, which obviously that felt really good. I think it was a one-off for now, but still felt really good to have it go over 100,000. I've got a video right now that's closing in on 10,000. I've had a couple other videos that have approached the, 6,000. One other video that went around 12,000 or whatever. So my shorts definitely are doing better right now on Instagram, which is always interesting. I like to compare the data back and forth, and it seems like maybe Instagram is starting to find an audience for some of my content, which has been really great too. But yeah, I share them all over the place. All right, what else? For Claude CoWork, what are the prices like and how easy or difficult was it to get rolling? So I signed up for Claude just for the Claude Pro, which is basically like $20 a month. I paid for it for a year up front. So I got a little bit of a discount because I paid for a year up front. The learning curve was I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and within a couple of hours, it was doing work for me. It's pretty easy. And one of the reasons why it's easy is because you can literally, what can you do for me? Okay, tell me how I get you to do that. And like you can literally prompt it to instruct you. I do hit usage limits every once in a while, but those usage limits reset every few hours. And so if I'm in the middle of a project and I hit the usage limit for me, I just wait, come back in a few hours and then pick it up and start again. You can pay for additional credits or tokens, I guess is what they call it. I haven't really had a need to do that yet for the things that it's doing for me. But for $20 a month, to have access to a tool like that you can use to help you work on projects, I definitely think there's value there. There's still a lot of things that I do myself. There's still a lot of things that I would rather do myself. But it's nice to have a tool to brainstorm with. It's nice to have a tool to do some of the mundane stuff. So, for example, once I've created one of my Docushort videos, I upload that video to YouTube. That is the only thing that I have to do now. I upload it to YouTube. Once it is uploaded to YouTube, I can go to Claude and say, the video is now posted on YouTube. Work your magic on YouTube and build the web page. And then it just goes and does it because now it knows what it has to do. I've trained it. It's got a memory that you can train it. And so it opens up YouTube. It titles the video. It adds a description to the video. It adds tags to the video, like all of that sort of stuff. And then it flips over to my website. It builds a page. It embeds the video. It adds all the unnecessary tags. It does all the SEO voodoo stuff. Like it literally is working in my browser. I can watch it. Actually, last night I started it on a new short and then I went upstairs and had dinner. And by the time I came back downstairs, it had everything done, which is, that's pretty cool. So things like that, I have no problem using it for. It's like basically like having an employee. Any thoughts about having guests on FAF? Would love to have George Whittam or other subject matter experts here live to add the great advice you provide. I've actually done that in the past, and it is something that I've been thinking about doing. I think I'm probably going to, at some point, I want to ask Gina Scarpa to come on Free Advice Friday, and she's actually come on in the past. I'd like to have her come on again to do a Q&A for everybody who's trying to use voices.com and get more out of voices.com. But yeah, I have done that in the past, and that is something that I'm definitely open to doing again in the future. The challenge is sometimes scheduling, and some of these people sometimes, rightfully so, want to be paid for their time. And obviously, Free Advice Friday is free, so it's something else that I got to take into consideration. But so anyway, what else can I answer for you? What other questions would you like to ask? Would dramatic improv be any more helpful than comedy improv to strengthen my abilities? I think that any improv is an opportunity to strengthen your abilities. Kaylee Boo. You want to come say hi? So the boo is on summer break and obviously walking around the house dressed as a chicken. So, you know, you never know what you're going to find on Free Advice Friday. I'm literally streaming live on the internet, and my 13-year-old daughter just came in and started using my paper shredder. Can you hear that in the background? This is my life. Welcome to my daily life. One's walking around as a chicken, the other one's using my paper shredder, and I'm just sitting here trying to do a live stream on the internet. This is... Oh, Lily says, I'm only doing it because Kaylee's distracting you. I'm literally live on the internet. Oh, so she's going to just keep shredding. Oh my gosh. You never know what's going to happen on a Free Advice Friday. This is what you miss out on if you don't show up. You never know what's going to happen. All right, baby. Mwah. Go bug Lily. All right. Oh my gosh. Craziness. What would be your take on the same topic of marketing on how to approach it in the Spanish bilingual market? The advantage that you have when you're doing that is that you have more to offer. You've got a larger pool of potential buyers because you've got English buyers, you've got Spanish buyers. And so I think a lot of the same things apply. One thing that I would be looking at is trying to be a little bit more strategic in your targeting. So where are there population bases that bilingual would be more of an advantage because there is an English speaking and a Spanish speaking. And so people are much more likely to do a spot or a video in both languages. Where are those population pools? And that could be specific geographic regions in the United States. It might be certain regions in South America, Central America, it might be certain regions in Europe. But that's one of the questions I would be asking, because now you have an extra value proposition to offer, because instead of having to hire an English talent and a Spanish talent, they can hire one person to do both. And so I think a lot of the fundamentals of the marketing stay the same. It's just the value proposition is different. You've got a special value proposition that you can bring to the table. All right. What else is going on? Thanks for coming and hanging out, guys. For those of you that are jumping in a little bit late, you will be able to go back and watch the replay when this is done if you missed anything at the beginning. I'll go back through afterwards and add some chapter markers and make sure that you know what specific questions were asked and answered. There's an entire archive of Free Advice Friday on the YouTube channel, by the way. So if you have missed Free Advice Fridays in the past, go back through the archive. Again, chapter markers are included, so you can go to specific questions that were asked and answered. So there's lots of good content for you. In a VO book club, your input on Speak to Achieve and Freeing the Natural Voice. I'm not familiar with that one. So you'll have to tell me more. Maybe I'll have to look it up, because I'm actually a very avid reader. My wife looks at me all the time and she's like, wait a minute, that's a new book. Yeah. How are you possibly on a new book? How many books have you read this month? I'm like, I don't know. I think I've read like 6 books already this month. I love reading. Who's up next on the summer series? Terry was hilarious. Yes, where the heck is Briscoe? Why is he not even here? What the heck, Briscoe? Go on my podcast and you can't even show up for my live stream. Punk. Terry Briscoe and I did an episode. It came out yesterday. It was a lot of fun. Really great conversation, though. Really, really great conversation. It's interesting just because I'm like a 20-year guy in some senses. I'm a 20-year guy in my business right now. And I think Terry's around a 5-year, but we're both looking to do the same thing, but just maybe in slightly different ways. We're each looking to level up. And so one of the questions is, how do you do that? What does that look like? And so it was a really fun conversation. And so I think that regardless of where you are at in your business, there is advice that was shared in that episode that will be helpful to you if leveling up is one of the things that you are looking to do. So that was a fantastic episode. That one is available now. It's here on the YouTube channel. You can go watch it after Free Advice Friday, of course. It's also available on all the audio distribution platforms, Apple, Spotify, etc., etc., etc. Who's next on the podcast? Let me find my handy dandy podcast sheet. Let's see. Cyan Newton next week, and we're talking about getting demo ready. Ali Laziri is on the week after that, and we're talking about, her question was, I only have a certain number of demos available, but I want to be able to do more. So how do I get started when I have limited demos available to me, which I think is probably something that a lot of people can relate to. And then I'll be doing an episode with Rosanna Pilcher. We're going to be talking about marketing with a pseudonym. So if you've ever found yourself in that situation, I know there are certain people in the audiobook world who sometimes have to do that. And so how to market yourself when you have a pseudonym. So that's something that we're going to explore. I will say, by the way, there are still some spots available for the summer series. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the summer series concept of the podcast, I invite everyday VOpreneurs to come on the show and ask their question. And if you've got a specific, pressing voiceover business and marketing question that you would like to ask, you can fill out this form. I'm going to put the link in the chat. If you go to VOpreneur.com/summer series, VOpreneur.com/summer series, fill out the form. Let me know what your question is. I think I've got maybe 3 spots left for the summer series. And so there might be an opportunity for you to join me on the podcast and ask your question and get it answered. So check that out if you've got a chance. VOpreneur.com/summer series. VOpreneur.com/summer series. All right. What else? The chicken is back. Look at this. Look at this thing. Look at this chicken. Look at this chicken. That's one big chicken. Oh my gosh. All right, go lay an egg. Stay away from mommy or she'll put you in the deep fryer. All right, guys, what else can I do for you? If you've got a question that you would like to ask and get answered on Free Advice Friday, again, don't be shy. Feel free to type your question into the comments, and I will try to answer as many questions as I can. If I happen to have missed your question, just know that I am certainly not trying to miss any questions on purpose. Don't be afraid to type it into the comments again, and I will certainly try to catch it this time around. But yeah, if there's anything I can answer for you, if there's any questions that you would like to ask and get answered, this is your opportunity. Don't be shy. Free Advice Friday is all for you. All right, let's see. Oh, let's make that go away. Can't see. You said that your next workshop on LinkedIn doesn't require to have a paid membership. Assuming this is casting director's platform of choice, would it help to pay for a subscription? Here's what I can tell you about LinkedIn. I've been using LinkedIn as one of my primary marketing tools for almost 15 years now, probably longer. I have never had a paid membership on LinkedIn. I have done free trials of LinkedIn Premium, and I think there are some things about LinkedIn Premium that are nice, but I have never found anything that made it worth it to spend the amount of money. If LinkedIn Premium was like all of the other social media platforms and it cost me $10 a month, I might do it. But when they're asking for $60, $70, $80 a month, depending on the package that you're going on, I just haven't found the value there. I do not see the value there. I don't think that I have ever been negatively impacted by not having premium LinkedIn. I mean, I guess I will never, I guess I wouldn't really know for sure. But I've been able to do everything that I need to do on the platform. I've been able to get the value out of it that I need. And I've been able to do that on a free profile. And so everything that I teach in my Making Money with LinkedIn Masterclass is taught based on having a free profile, because I know that's what the vast majority of people have. Most people have that free profile. Most people don't want to spend that extra money. Are there things that would be nice to have? Some of the advanced analytics, being able to see who's viewed your profile, being able to send more personal notes when you do connection requests. You know, there are things like that. Would they be nice? I mean, sure, they would be nice. Are they absolutely necessary? Not in my experience anyway. They are not absolutely necessary. All right. What's next? Who's next? Again, check out that latest episode of the podcast. Terry Briscoe comes on the show. We talk about what you got to do to level up. Some great tips, some great information shared if you are looking to level up your voiceover business. If you are interested in the Making Money with LinkedIn Masterclass, by the way, go to vopreneur.com, click on the store button, and there it is right there. Making Money with LinkedIn. You'll be able to sign up. This is going to happen live via Zoom. It will be approximately 2 hours long. It'll run from 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. Eastern on July the 28th. If you are, hey, don't start playing with that. If you are unable to attend live for any reason, no, don't touch that. If you are, Kaylee Boo. If you are unable to attend live for any reason, don't worry. The entire session will be recorded, and everybody who signs up will get access to a complete video recording. So you will not miss anything if you are unable to attend live. But check that one out, Making Money with LinkedIn. And by the way, if you have previously purchased Making Money with LinkedIn, you are going to get access to the new update regardless. So you do not need to sign up again. That is something that I do with all of my courses. Once you buy the course, you will always get access to future updates. I do not make you repurchase it again. Will the LinkedIn course be available for purchase after it happens like your other courses? Yes, it will be available for purchase after it happens. You will. The advantage to being there live, other than, you know, you get the information up front, is the Q&A. There will be a Q&A that will be included as part of that as well as time permits. And so that's one of the advantages of being there live, is once we've gone through the training, if there's any specific questions that you want to ask, you'll have a chance to do it. Yeah, baby. I'm literally live on the internet here. It's beautiful. I'm literally live streaming on the internet right now. What percentage of VO talent are full-time? Seems like a side hustle for 90%. Is this covered in the GVAA survey? It's Nava actually does a state of voiceover survey. I have not seen the latest results on the Nava state of voiceover survey, but that might be something that is covered in the state of voiceover survey. Hey, Mark, I'm a stage actor, fairly new to VO. I've been a SAG-AFTRA member for 10 plus years. I have heard in the VO casting world that FiCore is actually now an asset and not a detriment. Your thoughts? This is a very controversial topic, but as someone who is, I'm non-union. I'm not FiCore. I'm not union. I have had conversations with a lot of voice actors across the spectrum. I've had conversations with non-union voice actors. I've had conversations with union voice actors. I have had conversations with FiCore voice actors. I've had conversations with agents. I've had conversations with casting directors. Nobody cares about FiCore anymore. In my opinion, it is not an issue. It is not an issue. What matters more is getting great talent to fill all the roles. That's really what seems to matter. Now, are there going to be exceptions to the rules? I suppose, maybe. But my experience from all the conversations that I've had is that it is not a detriment to be FiCore any longer. If I buy this LinkedIn course, will I get access to any previous material that you've done in the past on the same topic? I will probably take the old course down just because so much has changed on LinkedIn now that a lot of the old information is no longer relevant. That's one of the reasons why I'm updating the course. So you will not miss out on anything by not having the old versions of the course. Usually the reason why I update the course is because the old version no longer is relevant, or enough of the information has been, enough information has changed that it requires an update. So yeah, you will just have the brand new version of the course, but it will give you everything that you need. You are crazy. This is what it's like to do a live stream with a 5-year-old on summer break. Kids equal 0 cares. Accurate. Very accurate. All right. What other questions can I answer for you guys on Free Advice Friday? What time is it? I got about 15 minutes left. I can stick around for about another 15 minutes if you've got more questions that you would like to ask and get answered. So feel free to ask them. You probably don't want to lick my shirt. That's probably yucky. Chickens don't lick. Chickens peck. Best faff ever. It's been a while since the Boo has been able to join us on a Free Advice Friday. She's in school now, so all throughout the rest of the year, it's really tough for her to get here. What are you doing? Crazy chicken.
I'm not crazy.
All right. Can I answer any other questions for you on Free Advice Friday? If there's anything that you would like to ask, feel free. David says, what do you carry in your mobile rig? I have my old interface, which still works great. I just replaced it in the booth. So it's a Yamaha AGO3. So I carry that interface. I have a little portable tripod, like a desk sized tripod that I keep. Some of the extra cabling that I need. I keep a magic mouse in my travel rig because I always forget to bring my magic mouse with me. And so I keep an Apple Magic Mouse. Whenever I travel, I take my 416. So the 416 is usually in the booth, but I will take it out of the booth and put it into my travel kit. So I actually have one of those hard shell cases. I got it at Princess Auto. I know if you're not in Canada, you don't know what Princess Auto is, but Harbor Freight would be the equivalent. But one of those hard shell weatherproof cases that you can put a lock on. And so I literally just packed a travel rig in there. And so when I'm ready to go on vacation, pretty much the only thing I have to do is grab my laptop and grab my 416 and put them in that case. Everything else is a duplicate. It stays in the case, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about packing. I don't have to wonder whether or not I'm going to have the right cables or all of that sort of stuff. So I literally keep a separate case just for it. And then I do have a tri-booth. Now that tri-booth doesn't come with me everywhere. Mostly that tri-booth stays up at my mother-in-law's house. All my wife's family lives up north. And so whenever we go up there, usually we go up there a few times throughout the year. I've got a travel setup that I can build that tri-booth and use it at her house. But having that separate mobile rig is nice. I didn't always have that. Obviously, I didn't have the ability. My finger's in there. All right, baby, hang on. Daddy's working. You gotta let me do my live stream.
Daddy.
Oh my goodness, you're crazy. Go peck Lily. No. Anyway, I didn't always have a totally separate setup for a mobile rig, but it's nice to be able to have it now. No, don't look that. That's gross.
Yummy.
Oh my goodness. Hardest part of being a dad and a full-time voice talent, live Q&A sessions aside. Yeah, this is it, right? Fortunately, she's just come running in on a Free Advice Friday and not on a directed session. That would be a lot more. That'd be a lot more harder to explain to a client and get away with. It's time, right? It's, especially in the summer. The kids are home all day and you just want to be hanging out with them. But the reality is you got to be in the office. You got to be working. You got to be doing the thing. But you just want to be upstairs and spending more time with them and hanging outside with them or dressing in chicken costumes with them. Oh, my gosh. You guys had no idea what you were getting when you signed up for Free Advice Friday to come and watch today, did you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What's better, the voiceover advice or the chicken? Okay, Derek says, question for cold emailing. How do you personalize them? I have a generic email that feels conversational, but I find it hard to personalize it sometimes because I can't find what they've personally done. At the very minimum, I want to, okay, don't do that. At the very minimum, I want to go on their website and I want to try to learn a little bit more about them through their website. I want to learn a little bit about the type of work that they do. At the very least, I want to be able to see, do they do corporate video? Do they do commercial? Do they do explainer? Do they do all three? Do they specialize in one over the other? Are there certain clients that they've worked with? So I'm looking for anything that I can find on the website that I can mention that really creates a little bit more of a personal connection. The vast majority of my introductory email is absolutely a template. But that opening part of it, that opening paragraph, that gets personalized. And that is one of the things that makes a really big difference. And so don't overthink the personalization side of it. Really what it comes down to is if you can copy that email, paste it, and send it to more than one person, then it's not personalized. It should really only make sense from a personalization standpoint to the one person who is receiving it. And that could be simply talking about their work, talking about their company, talking about a client, talking about a specific project, something like that. And that's not that hard to do. David said, had to step away. Did you cover the mobile rig? I did. I did cover the mobile rig. So if you want to go back and watch that in the replay, I talked a little bit about that setup. Do you personalize it more to the company then instead of the person being emailed? Yeah, it's really hard. I'm not going to be able to go back and find out something specifically about that person unless every once in a while, if you go onto a website and there's an About Us page or a team page, and sometimes, team members have little bios and they mention things, or I can go on their LinkedIn and I can grab something off of their LinkedIn. So I will try to find something if I can, but I don't have to necessarily, as long as it's personalized at the very least to the company. That already makes it better than just a generic form letter. Love and need the VO advice, but the chicken makes me happy. What are you doing?
So that's my picture.
It is a beautiful picture, but okay, come on. Kaylee Boo, you're being silly.
Wow.
Oh, you're being silly. Oh. All right, where are we at? I got time for one or two more questions. And if I missed your question again, I apologize. Not trying to miss any questions. Don't be afraid to ask it again. Let's see. Won't be long before that little one will be coached and has a demo. You never know. You never know. My wife's booked voiceover work before. None of my kids yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
My older kids use my booth a lot.
Yeah.
They've used them. My older kids have had to use the booth for projects. They have an unfair advantage when they've had to create podcast episodes for school projects and things like that. And they have an unfair advantage because they can come into the booth and record and it sounds great. And then we can edit it and add background music and sound effects and all that sort of stuff. And it's probably a little bit of an unfair advantage, but they take advantage of it. Any uptick in voices auditions numbers this week? Not yet. Not yet. I haven't really noticed any significant uptick. I had a really awesome conversation with Gina Scarpa yesterday. Gina teaches voices.com and teaches how to optimize the profile. So we had a really great talk yesterday. She said, I'm doing everything right. My audition or my shortlist ratio right now is about 35%, give or take, which is really good. She said, so keep that up, so just keep submitting great auditions. It's only been a couple weeks. Don't push those buttons. No, what are you doing? You can't push those buttons. So it was just be patient. She said, my profile is optimized. It looks great. But just to be patient at this point. So, I continue to be patient. I will say the auditions that I'm seeing are pretty good. I think the rates for the most part are pretty fair. So I have no complaints there. I'm seeing 3 to 4 relevant auditions per day since I signed up. Yeah, and that's about what I'm seeing. On average, give or take, I'm seeing about 3 or 4 a day. She said that should pick up. So I'll keep my fingers crossed that it picks up at this point. Just waiting for that first booking. I mean, shortlists are great. At one point I had 7 shortlists on my auditions. 2 of them got taken away, and she explained how that works, the way on the back end. So it's, it's kind of a process of elimination thing, and then the shortlist sometimes will disappear. So I was at 7 shortlists. I'm at 5 now, but really just need to get that first booking, and I'll feel good. Baby, you are crazy. You keep talking about this, and I might just revisit my voices reluctantly. You know what? Here's the thing, and I've been very honest about this. I got kicked off the platform in 2016. I got kicked off the platform because I called them out publicly for some shady business practices. I had all the receipts. I backed it all up with evidence, and they didn't like it, and I got kicked off the platform.
Yay!
And a lot of voice actors were really upset because of a lot of those shady business practices. That was 10 years ago. Okay, it was 10 years ago. The company was under different ownership. The company was under a different CEO at that point. So I am willing to give them another shot. That's it. I'm willing to give them another shot and see. Now, if I find out that nothing has changed and they're still doing all the same shady stuff that they were doing before, then, you know, I reevaluate at that point in time. At this point, what I see is a site that is super user-friendly. Kaylee,
Mom.
come on, baby. Don't do that.
No, it's
Don't do
mine. It's mine.
What I see at this point is a site that is super user-friendly. I see a site that offers fair rates. I see a site that offers pretty decent projects. I see a site that is really helpful as far as the insights that it gives. I can see who's listening or how many auditions I've had listened to, how many I've submitted, how many have been listened to, how many have been shortlisted. I'm really impressed with the platform. Way more at this point than I am impressed with Voice 123. So there are a lot of voice actors who are still holding on to past hurt and anger and rage and frustration from stuff that took place 10 years ago with a different owner and a different CEO. I'm willing to give them another shot and see. And so far, 2 weeks on the platform, I haven't seen anything that makes me nervous yet. Now, I'm still obviously skeptical and keeping my eyes open, but so far I'm okay, and I'm happy with what I'm seeing. All right, Tony says for auditions, raw or edited with light cleaning and light compression. Yeah, I don't do any compression or anything like that. I just clean them up. I run a declicker, normalize them, and clean them up. But I'm not running any compressions or EQs or anything like that. All right, let's see. What time is it? One more. All right. I'll log in and see what's what. The biggest thing I would say that I have learned so far with voices.com, there is an algorithm. It is not nearly as punishing as Voice 123. It is absolutely essential that you have a properly optimized profile. If you are anything less than 100% voice match on any project, you are going to struggle. And so I have been very fortunate to have Samantha Damiano working for me behind the scenes, making sure that I am a 100% voice match on everything. And that has been incredibly helpful, making sure that I have that voice match capability. So Sam's going through optimizing all of my clips, doing all of the keywording, whatever it is that she's doing. I don't even know. I just let her do it. I just trust her to do it. But that is absolutely essential for voices.com. If you're going to make it work for you, you have to make sure that your profile is optimized. Lots of clips, lots of keywords, all of that sort of stuff makes a big difference. And so that's really important. Tony says, I'm in the tank on V123. Yeah, me too. I've been in the bottom 50% now for months. Can't get out no matter what I do. A couple weeks ago, I had a booking and a 5-star review. Even that I thought at the very least I should have moved to the 40th percentile, the booking and the 5-star review. It did not. I did not get moved up. So I continue to sit in the toilet on Voice 123. Uh-oh, here comes another one. Kinsley. Kinsley. Oh, this one just woke up from her nap. Say hello. Say hi. Say hello, everybody. Say hello, everybody.
Oh, back. Picture. Me made a beautiful picture.
Hello.
Who wants to know my name? Hello. This is my name. This is my name. Hello. This is my name.
Oh my gosh, this Free Advice Friday went off the rails pretty quickly, but at least they're cute, right? All right, guys.
My name.
I gotta go. This is Chaos. Thank you. Thank you for coming for Free Advice Friday. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it next week, but I'm going to try. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll get notified. Everybody's saying hello, baby. Hey, they're all saying hello. Oh my gosh. All right, we got to wrap this up.
Hey, do you like my name?
This is Chaos. Okay.
Who likes my name?
Thanks for coming to Free Advice Friday, everybody. Whatever you decide to do this weekend, other than staying inside and staying clear of the smoke, have fun, stay safe,
Look.
go find some leads.